Hello, family and friends. This is Let's Talk Shalom. I'm one of your favorite hosts, Proverbs Guy. Also in the studio tonight is your actual favorite host and your dream guy. And your dream guy, we have a cool guest with us today who's into some awesome stuff and has a really unique way of sharing in ministry. Do you want to tell everybody about our guest and then introduce him?
Hi, this is my friend Bud Kinches from Cleveland, Tennessee. We both live here in the same town, and Bud is a screenwriter, playwright, producer, director, actor. He also works in the journalism / magazine / newspaper industry, and he has a play called Judgment Day. That's an evangelistic play for people in the church, but also for people that are unsaved. I've been to it. It's great. And it plays every year here in Cleveland, Tennessee. So we'd like to interview him for what he's doing because he's got some actual shows going on right now here around town. How you doing, Bud?
Doing wonderful. Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. We're excited to have you.
So, Bud, let me ask you, have you ever heard of it was a play that went around different Pentecostal churches, especially like the Assemblies of God, the Heaven's Gate and Hell's Flame? It was that
Since I have started this journey with Judgment Day, I cannot tell you how many times that has been referenced in conversations that I've had with people. It's been so funny. It's like, have you ever heard? I'm like, yeah, Heaven's Gates, Hell's Flames. I have. But I didn't want to cut you off because I'm a guest on your show. So
No, but that's awesome because, okay, that play was kind of outdated when I was young and I performed in one of them. So that's been 20 years ago. I'm glad that there are more modern versions. Do you want to tell us about your modern spin?
Yeah, and I will say, when I was young, I attended North Cleveland Church of God, and they had it there, so I remember seeing that. And well, first of all, before I say that, I'll say I've been writing since I was a kid. I have always loved to write and create things. I would write short stories, send them to my family and stuff like that. And so I've been writing since I was a kid. So in 2012, I heard the voice of the Lord as clearly as I've ever heard him. And for me, I can't speak for everyone, but for me, sometimes I hear something, I'm like, okay, Lord, is that you? I need a confirmation. And then there are sometimes when I hear his voice, it's like, oh yeah, okay, Lord, that's you, no doubt. And okay. And that was one of those moments. So I was like, okay, Lord, I would love to write a play. I've been acting since I was a kid, but I've never written my own show. And so I said, what direction would you like me to go with that? What do you want it to be about? And I didn't hear anything. So I was like, okay, I'm just going to kind of pray, ask the Holy Spirit to type through my fingers. And Judgment Day was born. But he said, write it. He didn't say do it. And so I kind of sat on it. And I sat on it, and then fast forward to 10 years, a whole decade, I had it, but he didn't release me to do it. And so at 21, I started kind of dabbling, asking people, to jump on board, thinking maybe this was the right time. And then there were some doors that closed that kind of let me know, okay, this still isn't the right time. And then finally in 2022, we launched with our first show, the original show, and it was so special to me because I held on to it for so long, and now I'm finally seeing these characters that I have written and that I've had in my head for this decade. I'm finally seeing them come to life, and so that's how it was birthed. So
Okay, so how do you find the actors? Is it the same concept as the Heaven's Gates and Hell's Flames? You go to a different church, you kind of see who volunteers, and then you find out who's talented out of those volunteers?
well, I should tell you, so last year, this was my first time doing this. So I kind of, when God told Abraham to just leave it all and go, that's kind of what I felt like I was doing, not leaving Cleveland, of course, but just kind of going still into the unknown, not knowing what I was doing. So I surrounded myself with some good people. And so to answer your question, my church, North Cleveland, hosted us last year. They donated the venue. And so I started at my home church. I went to the youth group. I spoke to people. I said, this is what we're doing. We want you to be involved. And I got some people, and then, but it wasn't all of them. So then I went around and, I put blast out on Facebook, because really what I wanted to do, this ministry is not affiliated with my church. It's my own ministry. So I kind of wanted to build, a team that would work with me and everything. So I was going around to all different kinds of churches. And yes, I was asking for volunteers and things like that. But one thing I found was I felt like I lived the verse that the harvest is plentiful, but the laborers are few. I cannot tell you how hard it was to find people to do this. And I thought, you know what, guys, it's a ministry, yeah, it's a show. We call it a show and everything, a theatrical experience. But really what we're doing is, we're preaching the gospel from a different pulpit. That's what I felt the Lord tell me we were doing. Our pulpit happens to be the stage. So the message doesn't change, but the way in which we present it, that can change. That can be different. And so I'm telling, trying to hype people up. I'll tell you how crazy it was. I spoke to a youth group. It was over 100 students, man. I mean, it was packed from front to back, standing room only in this room. And not one person signed up. And I didn't know what to do. I was like, okay, Lord, I'm trying not to get discouraged, but I can't understand why nobody wants to be involved in something that's going to win souls and help fulfill the Great Commission. That's what you called us to do, to go out. And but it all came together at the end, and we got the people that we needed. And then 1 week before we opened, two key people, very important people, walked out on us. So we're 1 week to opening day, and we had two people walk out. But it was amazing to see how God moved people into their place and how we were still able to do the shows over the 4 days that we did them.
That's awesome. Now, there's a video on your website. Is that a little introduction for the play?
You are probably talking about the one night only videos. So I didn't want to, I can just share that with you real quick. So after we did the main show last year and it launched it, I always had the idea that I kind of wanted to take it on the road, kind of tour it, if you will. Mm-hmm. And then I thought, well, I guess I better wait, because I don't want to do anything really unless I know I got the Lord's blessing. And then sure enough, somebody invited us out to a church here in Cleveland. We did it there. Then we got invited to a church in Dunlap. And then we just had our last road show this past weekend in Rossville, Georgia. And so that promotional video is from one of our one night onlys. That's probably the one you're talking about.
So on your locals, because you and I both live here, which congregations are there? So I know North Cleveland Church of God. I was actually there last year on Halloween. Mm-hmm. And saw you guys perform, which is perfect timing for it. And as some friends of the show, my friend Cherie was the warden, I believe. And there were some other people I found out later that I didn't know were in there. Melissa Kirkland was there, but she was dressed up as one of the other characters. I didn't even recognize her. Yeah. And her and I go to leadership class that's actually going to start having leadership courses on Thursday nights in North Cleveland Church of God. So which church were you at in Dunlap?
Oh, shoot. I don't remember the name because that was a couple of months ago. I'll get back to you on that. You gosh, I cannot remember the name.
We're going to get our fact checkers on it to make sure.
Yes. Yes. And that's kind of embarrassing. One of the ladies in our cast was involved with the women's ministry in this church in Dunlap. So that's where the connection came, because Dunlap's, that's a little drive. So that's the connection there. And so it's a women's ministry. And then they have the men's ministry too. So it's kind of like, they're helping drug addicts and alcoholics, come to know the Lord and get away from those addictions. And that sort of thing, and then they have an actual church that meets on Sunday.
So like a sobriety ministry. And then also you were at was it Battlefield Assembly in Rossville, Georgia?
So Battlefield Assembly was this past Saturday. Yes, and if I'm not mistaken, isn't that where you go, Brian? I think that's where you go.
Yeah, I used to go there. I was one of the founding members for a while.
Okay,
but I don't anymore. But yeah, we're trying to connect that last spring. We're trying to get that connected for you. So I was really glad to see that work out.
Yes. It was awesome. Yeah, Pastor Bill was great. He was so excited, man. We were messaging each other all last week, just kind of nailing down a last few minute things. And he was so excited. And we had, I would say we probably had about 40 or 50. I was amazed at the amount of kids that were there. That was kind of cool too.
He's really big on evangelism. He's very hard for evangelism. So now you're across state lines. You're in Tennessee and Georgia, and you're just expanding across the country to take on the globe later. Awesome.
And let me just say this: the dream would be at some point down the road, and however long, I would love to. I have connections, other parts of the country, Colorado, Los Angeles. So I would love to kind of take it nationwide if the Lord would ever allow us to do that. So time will tell.
Can people kind of franchise that out? Like if you knew someone approved of them, could they set their own version of Judgment Day up, or do you need to be there like to travel to set it up?
I would actually like to do both. It's funny that you mentioned that. So and I know we're gonna talk. I'm sure we'll talk about this fall coming up because it's actually a different show. So last year, I copyrighted the original show, and I would like to sell it for other churches to do it, and then I'd like to tour as well. So I would like to do both. So the original show is copywritten, and I'm just trying to figure out. I'm kind of doing some research on the best way to sell it. I have a local printer here that I work with, and they print all of our scripts for us. So and they'll shrink wrap them, and so do we just charge like whatever, and then they get it, and then they can make it their own? That's kind of the idea. So I'm just trying to figure out the best way to do that. So
awesome. And Stephen had some questions for you.
Sure.
Okay, so I have two questions, and then I was actually going to hand it back over to Brian and see where we went from there. So question one, I guess I should start by telling people this is basically crowdfunded. Right? How much does it take you to put on a production?
Well, last year I didn't really write out a budget. Again, first time, lots of learning. But we got every dime that we needed. This year I wrote out more of a budget, and we are looking, I believe, without it in front of me, I believe it's right about $20,000. Because this year we're paying for the venue. This year we're trying to up our merchandise. We're going to be filming, so there's cost for that.
So
and
your
that
budget
sort of
you're
thing.
trying to get to is $20,000?
Yeah.
How much of that have you raised already, and when is your deadline?
So the deadline will probably be middle of October because the shows will start towards the end of October. So we want to get all the merchandising in. The venue charge is not due till the first day we walk into the venue, and that sort of thing. And we're starting with the venue first. So right now we're only a little over $1,000. Actually, I have that right in front of me. That's we're about $1,300. So we've got a little ways to go, but we're going to get there. I believe God's going to fund it. So particularly with the venue that we're going to be at this fall, and I know we'll talk about that. I feel like that's the only door that opens. So I know the Lord wants us there. So He's not going to let us fail.
Okay, and for that billionaire in our audience that's listening to this,
yes,
where
Lord.
Where can they go to donate to this crowdfund? Where can they get funds to you to help spread the gospel?
Right. So if they're in Cleveland, I'm happy to go anywhere. Chattanooga, Cleveland. Shoot, I'll go to Knoxville. I'll go anywhere. And, checking cash, of course, is great because we get 100% of that. The other way they can do it is reach out to us on Facebook. Just look, there's our logo for those watching on the video. And if you shoot me a message, I also have Square set up, and we can send like an invoice. They just tell me how much they want to give. I can send them an invoice. We could do it that way. I have Venmo. I'm working. I have a personal Venmo, but if people don't feel comfortable giving to, because they don't know me, I'm working on a business Venmo as well. That way it'll go right to the account. So
is there contact information on your website? Like a P.O. box they can mail it to or something like that?
Yes, I think I do need to add the address. Thank you for reminding me of that. There is a contact form there. So yeah, they can send the information, email me with any information. I can give them the address, and I will add that to our website. Oh, you know what? I haven't done the about section. You guys have to forgive me. I'm doing a lot of the administrative stuff on my own. I thought I had the contact page on there. I must have not published it yet. So I will have that up this week.
Hey, it happens. Look, I am doing this YouTube channel kind of solely, so I do all the clerical work and ministerial work. Yeah, it's a second full-time job. I understand.
It really is.
I've got like 4 websites going, and I'm trying to track of which one's my picture on, which one's it not, which one is me.
Oh my Lord,
I can't remember anymore. So until you get, but this is kind of like your about page. This is your audio video about page. Oh, you
Yep, we just
right here.
filmed the first play. We didn't get a chance to do it last year. I had a buddy of mine coming up, and
Mhm.
he got caught in a hurricane that was in Florida, so he wasn't able to come up. So we just shot the first one, so we'll have that available. And then I'm working on a Square store, so everybody will be able to buy our merchandise, right there on the website. And I'm set up to
Mhm.
ship. I can ship anywhere. I actually just had a guy out of nowhere reach out to me from Rochester, New York. So we have some Judgment Day product going up to New York. So that's kind of cool. And we've shipped out to Los Angeles. And so that's kind of cool. So hopefully that'll be up very soon.
Of an international too. So, and you
Yes.
guys, this is your dream guy, Brian Hazel Newman. So I know Bud in person. I was actually almost in the play, but I had scheduling conflicts with all the
Whoops.
practices. But I met Bud in person at the TV station where I had the TV show. So good guy and totally legit. All this is actually going to the production. And know him here in town. We have lots of mutual friends. And if you need to reach him, you can't find him with other means, just let me know and I'll connect you with him. So it's a good cause. And this is it's a legit cause. It's a good person, and this is a real need. And it's a trustworthy place to donate. And even if you can't, donate a large sum of money, even $5 is, one Starbucks coffee is $5 or $6. Just take that coffee for the day, give it to the gospel, and
let me tell you what we're doing
up.
right now. And I actually had a friend. I had a friend tell me, "Hey, you got these corporate sponsorship packages, and if anybody out there does own a business and they would like a big spot in our program, just send me a message through Facebook. I can send you the corporate sponsor information. But so the venue is X amount of money. We need this amount of people to give, and so we basically said, if this amount of people give $25." We will have the venue paid for. So right now, with what I have, I need 229 people, and I know I sound like a televangelist, but 229 people to give $25. That's all we have. 229 people left to give $25. The venue will be paid for, and all I can, and like Brian was saying, my prayer has been that anyone that gives, it will be given back to them in good measure, pressed down, shaken together, running over. It's not, like a prosperity thing. I'm just telling you what the Bible says. If you give, and this is good soil that you're giving into, it will come back to you, however that might be. If it's financial, wonderful. If it's health or whatever, it'll come back to you. So that's what I tell people.
I will say this. I have a strong disdain for the prosperity gospel preachers.
Oh, me too.
The heretics.
Yes.
But I do sincerely believe that you can't outgive God.
Oh, man, absolutely. And I'm not one of those people, if you send me $25, I'm going to send you this or that. All I can tell you is I know what the scripture says, and that's what I've been praying. Matter of fact, I've been praying that verse. It's in Luke, I believe. I've been praying that the last 11 years, way before I even knew where we were going to do the first show, or if we were going to take it on the road. I said, Lord, anybody that gave, and if you can't give a monetary gift, you can pray. Everybody can pray. That's free. It doesn't cost you anything.
And they can also share your website.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because they can access to people that might be able to give that you don't have access to.
That's exactly right. Locations that you've gone and done the production at, have any of them been filmed? Like, are you going to collect those on a YouTube channel so people can go watch the different performances?
That is something I'm still kind of thinking about. So like I said, we copyrighted the first show, and then these road shows that we did this year. And in my mind, the road show, or what we call the one night only experience. So basically that means, like, say Pastor Brian, for example, wanted us to come to his church. We'll figure out a date. We don't charge the church. We give you posters, we help you market it, we help you advertise it, and we come, and all we ask for is a love offering. And I'm going to get to your question in a minute. We have not videoed them. We will have the first play available on DVD soon. We filmed it at a local studio here in town.
Oh, cool.
So those will be available for sale. Our crew is limited right now, and so maybe that is something that we'll do next year, so that we could make a DVD, like you said, a DVD experience for each location. I think that would be cool, but right now we just didn't have the resources or the crew to do it. So that definitely may be something that we do in the future.
Did you guys film at CTN?
Yes, we did.
Awesome. That's the.
Let me just if I can give a quick shout out, CTN. Christian Television Network, I believe is what it is. They're out of Chattanooga, but they have a studio here in Cleveland. I happen to know the lady that runs it, and I know Brian, you know her. Amy Mann, she's fantastic. She's given us a space to rehearse.
Oh, Amy's awesome.
She's not asked for anything, and they're donating, or they're giving us a good price on the equipment this year to film our fall show. So that's
John and Amy Mann. The current thing we're doing now is a podcast, Let's Talk Shalom. But I had a TV show called Let's Talk Shalom for about a year, and Amy was my producer, director, station manager. And her and John got married. So they're John and Amy Mann Ministries, Jam Ministries, John, Amy Mann, J-A-M.
Yes.
And they're doing a lot with trying to provide housing for people coming out of foster care and really cool stuff at Jam Ministries. You get a chance to check them out. Me or Bud can connect you with them. And she's also the station manager at CTN. And they also help with podcasts. And they also do pretty much everything else. Oh, she works with Starfish as well, which is a nonprofit for children under 5 here. So John and Amy do all kinds of great stuff, and Bud and I know them personally, and so it's another good connection with the community. So speaking of local people, last week we had Nathaniel Bonner on from Tomorrow's End, which is a very similar ministry as yours, but instead of writing plays, they do music. So he has evangelistic music that's just very themed about salvation. And he's local, and he has, of course, a band, so he's used to be on the stage. And Nathaniel's a cancer survivor. So I would like to get you guys together sometime, because I really think if you put like a DVD together, you could also have a soundtrack. If you had a soundtrack that went with the play, or like some music that went with it, that'd be a great fundraising tool, like iTunes, Spotify, CD. Go ahead.
Not only that, Brian, but could you imagine Tomorrow's End opening all the plays with a show?
That'd be a great collaboration. So I'd like to introduce you guys, because I think bringing in a band or somehow some kind of collaborative experience, like there's an opening act of music and you guys come to the play and he draws some people in for you, draws people in for him. But I'll get you guys together sometime, because that would be it'd be a win-win for everybody.
Well, it's so funny that you mentioned that. I don't know if you can pull the website back up, but we actually have a soundtrack in the works. I'll be happy to meet him, though. I would love to do something with him. But I guess it was last year, my buddy and I, we co-wrote all the songs together. There's a couple of interludes. Yeah. So if you click the soundtrack, or did they put the music? Sorry, the music. Yeah, my friend is helping me with the website over to the left there. Yeah, so that is, we have a single out, Judgment Day. My buddy Nate, who goes by Zero Doubt, that's his rap name. He actually rapped on it. Told me it was the first time in his musical career that he's ever done something that he has not written. So I felt totally blessed, because when I reached out to him, I was like, "You're the guy." He's like,
"Do you mind if we demo this?"
Go right ahead.
Awesome. All right, let's do this.
Are you ready? Are you ready?
Judgment Day is coming.
Are you ready? Are you ready?
There's no more time for running.
Have you heard about the day coming when the judge is gonna speak out his word? He's throwing down on the gavel, shake out of Seattle. All the world is gonna tremble when they stand in the battle. He will ride in victory before the ones who denied him. Looking like a king with the roar of a lion. His mouth is a weapon, his truth is a sword. Only those who follow him will stand to endure the brightness of his glory, the light of his words. So a word to all the wise, don't follow the herd, because when he returns and the heavens blow open, I'll be hoping that you knew him on the road you were going.
Are you ready? Are you ready?
Judgment Day is coming.
Are you ready? Are you ready?
There's no more time for running.
Are you ready? Are you ready?
Are you ready now to see the light?
Are you ready? Are you ready?
It's coming back like a thief in the night. Two directions will determine where you spend your life. The goats on the left and the sheep on the right. to tell you. Let's look at now how you spent your nights. What did you do with the time? Did you live in the light? Question. For some of you, this day is frightening like lightning. There'll be thunder in his voice. You will shudder at his eyes when he tells you, listen, boy, I never ever knew you. It's true you chose to pursue all of the idols that consume you. Consumerism, Gnosticism, Buddhism, or the worldly wisdom telling you to love the sin you living in. That's not the way it is. That's not the show biz. We're talking about the real biz. You didn't make the big list.
Are you ready?
Judgment Day is coming.
Are you ready? Are you ready?
There's no more time for running.
Are you ready? Are you ready?
Are you ready now to see the light?
Are you ready? Are you ready?
It's coming back like a thief in the night. I know that we've been talking a bunch of gloom and doom, and some of you are probably thinking that you're hopeless in your sins, but there's hope for you today. A man who will defend, he can stand before the jury and declare you innocent. You see, the very same God who can judge you for your wrongs is the very same God who died upon the cross. He's the judge and the jury, the witness and defendant, but he offers you forgiveness. He can clear you of your sin, and so you don't have to worry. He offers you salvation. See, hell doesn't have to be your final destination. On the day you stand before him with the life that you've been given, yes, the Lord will judge your soul, but your sentence could be heaven.
Are you ready? Are you ready?
Judgment Day is coming.
Are you ready? Are you ready?
There's no more time for
So Bud, is that you laying down some jams there?
Yes.
So you're also a lyricist, and you rap. Look at you.
No.
Oh,
That was not me rapping. That was my friend Nate.
Oh, he
Zero
was
Doubt.
rapping, but you were doing the what's the other part? The melody.
Yeah, Judgment Day is coming. No
Yeah,
more
yeah,
time
that
for
was
running. Yeah.
Awesome.
So my buddy and I, we co-wrote all the songs, and then he produced it. And we're trying to get some more money raised so we can finish it. And we're probably going to release the full album next year when we release our first film. So.
Oh, awesome. That'd be great. So you're doing film, screens, and music. And
Yeah, so basically, I told somebody the other day you can start calling me Bud Perry, because like Tyler Perry would take all of his stage plays in the early days and then turn them into films. So that's kind of the idea. So the Judgment Day, the original show, I'm working on a script for that, and I'm hoping we'll be able to film that first quarter of next year, and then we'll do Volume 2, which is our fall show, and then we'll do other films. So yeah, it'll be it's kind of I guess you could maybe call it like the entertainment ministry, but we're reaching the people that won't go to church. Maybe they've been hurt or they won't sit in a pew, but they'll go to the movies, they'll listen to music, they'll read books, that sort of thing.
Well, it's a I call it a multimedia outreach, which I think is a term most people use for it. Like Psalm 16, what I do is media and equipment ministry. We find the people called and help them, get a platform, get them going, but also it's a media ministry because you're reaching the people that where they're at instead of dragging them to a church on Sunday morning or something they don't want to be at. Sometimes you're reaching them where they are.
That's it.
In a very easily shareable medium, like here's a YouTube video, here's a website, it's easy to pass around and listen to it on Spotify, iTunes, et cetera.
Yep.
Awesome. And so you do pretty much everything.
Yep. And let me tell you one other thing that we're doing, and this goes back to the fundraising part. I forgot to mention it earlier. It just occurred to me. We also, Brian, I'm sure you're familiar living in Cleveland, Inman Street Coffee. So for those that aren't from Cleveland, Inman Street is a big old road that runs right through downtown Cleveland, and Salvation Army has an office there. And so I think it was like 11 or 12 years ago, some people started a coffee shop. It's the only coffee shop in Cleveland where you can drink coffee and change lives. That's their slogan. And so North Cleveland had done a North Cleveland blend. So I approached Joel and Cheryl Rogers, who run the coffee shop. I said, could we do this for my play? So long story short, I don't drink coffee. So I've got all my coffee drinking buddies together. We went through the whole process. And out of the 5 blends that we could have picked, it's so crazy, I picked the same one that all my coffee drinking buddies picked, and it has been the best seller. So you can get a bag of coffee. It's a 12-ounce bag. We sell it for $12. So it's whole bean or ground. And again, we can ship those. So if you're interested in trying it out, just message me and we can ship it out to you. $12 a bag. We also have mugs, and we do a coffee combo. So the mugs are 13, the bags of coffee are 12, or you can do a coffee combo, which is the bag of coffee and the mug together, $20, save a little bit of money. I'm in marketing and advertising, so thank you, Lord, for helping me with that. But it's fun stuff like that. But the coffee has been our best seller.
And the Industry Coffee Shop, they're right by the Salvation Army, and their regular sales help promote the Salvation Army. And then they're also helping you. And I love when business owners just take that tithe principle. It's like as God blesses them and they increase, how they help the community also increases. And it's not just writing the check. Like, they're personally involved in using entrepreneurship to advance the kingdom. Josh Hawley has a book, Evangelpreneur, about how free enterprise spread the gospel. And I love that principle. Is like, the more we keep the money, like the Jews, the more we keep the money in the kingdom, keep the money in the community. The more we keep the money in the community, the more we can help the kingdom. And
That's
where it's going. It's not going to some billionaire doing God knows what. It's going to people helping people in the community where you live.
That's it. Couldn't have said it better myself.
Well, I love that model.
Now, I'm curious, how long does it take you from the time you show up to a church to get everybody trained, to learn the play, and then to put it on?
So we have a cast, and most of our cast for these shows that we toured, that we did this year, the One Night Only Experiences, they have been with me since last October. So it's not so much that, like the Heaven's Gates, Hell's Flames, where we go into a church and use their people. We actually already have our own team. So when we come in, our team, we put out all of our stuff. We do the show. We let the pastor, of that particular house that we're at, we let them, have a time of prayer at the end, and, for people to accept Christ. And then we take everything out and leave. So we're kind of like evangelists. We come in, we preach the gospel through our prayer, and then we pack up and leave, and we're gone. So that's kind of how we work. And so some of the people that are coming back for the new show too, will have been with me for this whole time we've been doing it. And I'm just blessed to have some of the most amazing people working with me.
And the pastors kind of help shepherd the people inside the four walls, but the evangelist is the one shepherding the one outside the four walls.
Yep.
And this way you kind of bring those two callings together, cooperative agreement.
Yes.
Would you mind, do you have a list of your cast members? I know some of them. You want to give a shout out, or there's just too many to name?
Oh gosh. Yeah. Let's see if I can do this. So one of the characters
of your most talented actor, and give us the name of your least. I'm kidding.
Oh no,
I live in this town at this interview.
No, I couldn't do that. I have to disconnect if you wanted me to do that. No, we have a guy that plays Lucifer. So our original show, just real quick, a synopsis. Our original show kind of centered around two groups of young people. We called them the good guys and the bad guys. So you had both sides. And then you had one guy that was kind of in the middle, straddling the fence. He was hanging out with the bad guys because he wanted to fit in, but then he wanted to know more about Jesus. And so this back and forth and everything. And then, things happen and they end up in the courtroom. And so I'm a bit of a TV nerd. So when I wrote the original courtroom scene, I watch a lot of Law and Order. So that's kind of how the courtroom scene is played out. It's like a modern day Law and Order type scene. So you have God, the judge. Of course, there's no jury in his courtroom. He's the judge and jury. Then you have Satan, the prosecutor, and you have Jesus, the defense attorney. So the guy this is what's so funny about this. The guy that plays Lucifer for us, his name is actually Angel. So when we found that out, we all just laughed at how funny that was. And his whole family, his siblings, are all in the show. So his sister played one of the bad girls, and then his other brother played one of the good guys. So that's the Blasini family. So shout out to all them, Angel, Stephanie, and Manuel. They are all awesome. But I got more compliments last year on Lucifer's character than I did any other character in the play. And I'm like, wait, what? Y'all like Lucifer more than Jesus? And some lady commented when I started advertising the new show for this fall, she said, is Lucifer coming back? I'm like, yes, he's coming back. So I thought that was real funny. So the Blasinis are great. We have Susan Hyder. She plays the grandma in the show. She actually owns Hyder Hangout here in Cleveland, 2nd Street, just up from the Elks Lodge. She does quilt fabrics, crafts, and all that. She's actually in the play, as well as our costume designer. So she is phenomenal. So shout out to her. If you need quilt fabric, go check her out on 2nd Street. We have 2 sisters, Leslie and Rose Bryant, who joined us this year for the road shows. They are fantastic. Oh gosh, don't let me miss anybody. John Tyndall is a phenomenal guy. He's done a lot of shows and he plays Jesus for us, and he's coming back this fall too. And then I feel like I'm missing somebody. If it comes back, if I think I've missed somebody, I'll let you know. I feel like I
Is
am.
Melissa in the play this year, or Cherie, or Ariel?
Oh, thank you. Goodness gracious. Ariel. Yes. Ariel, I've known forever. Yes. Ariel is going to be back. Cherie. We don't have a Cherie. I'm trying to think.
It was Cherie.
Yep. And we have a new guy. We have a
Right.
new guy that joined us this year. His name is Elijah. And I will just say this about Elijah. He is fantastic. He has he's somewhere on the spectrum, if you know what I'm referring to, autism. And he joined us this year. And, you know, he was filling in for somebody that we lost. And I said, Lord, I need to know if this guy, if it's going to work for him, if he's going to be able to do it. So we worked with him on projecting everything. He's real quiet. But I tell you what, the first show that he did with us was Dunlap, Tennessee. And I mean, he absolutely killed it. And he killed it in Rossville this weekend. He was phenomenal. And he told me he wanted to be an actor. And so I'm so grateful that the Lord saw to it to connect us. So it was such a great partnership there with him.
So you do like a media and equipping ministry as well, because you're doing the media, you know, the film, the screenwriting, but you're also doing equipping, because that might be part of his calling, and you're helping raise him up and give him the opportunity. I remember I met the Corky's Life Goes On. It's a totally different diagnosis, of course, but when I was in Oklahoma, he came to this tour of these churches, and when he, having Down syndrome, was a nationally televised actor, that was a big breakthrough for the people with disabilities. There's currently that show about a doctor who a doctor with autism, a teenage doctor with autism. I forget the name of the show, but it's, you know, really breaks a lot of ground for what people think someone's capacities are.
Yes, The Good Doctor with Freddie Highmore. Yes.
Yeah, The Good Doctor.
Yes.
So they break through those barriers. Yes.
That's awesome. Yeah. He's fantastic. He gets up on there and he just kills it. I mean, he was incredible. We all were telling him how good he did this year, this last show. And of course they all do good. They're all wonderful.
Awesome. And
I
Steven
do want
does
to
everything
know.
too. Go ahead, Steve.
Yeah, I do want to know, like, how many venues have you guys performed at, and also how many venues do you guys have scheduled, and how can they schedule you to come to wherever they're viewing this from to come do it at their church?
Yeah, so we did North Cleveland last year. That was the first. And then we did the three shows this year, the one night only experiences. So if you go to our website, the jdruready.com, and I think I have it under one night only, there is a form there to fill out. So this show that we did this weekend was the last one of those for this year, because we want to focus on our fall. The fall is kind of the main event, if you will. But if they will go to the website, we're going to start booking those again April to August of next year. So all of the info is there. And I do have a form on that part of the website where they can fill out and just send it to me.
Awesome. So they can work with you to get you guys out to perform and get the message out to the younger people that might not be so keen on attending the Sunday morning service. But it helps the churches too, because it's like, I've never been in that building before. I don't know where this is at. I've never met any of these people, because it's so strange and unfamiliar. But if you've been to a location for one event outside of Sunday morning or outside of Saturday, where people don't really go, then they're a lot more comfortable going back a second time for something more formal or more structured.
That's exactly right.
Because it opens the door. I've been in that building. I've met one or two of these people. It's not so strange now.
Right. And let me, I didn't answer the other part of his question. So this past weekend was the last show for this year. And then we'll be booking April through August of next year. So in that time that I have in between there, I'm going to try to build another cast. So we have 2 casts, because I wore this cast out this year. Dunlap was about 70 miles away. And so that was a huge day for all of us. So my goal by the time we start these again next year is to have the original crew, that as many that can, that stay with me, and then have another crew. So that way I can rotate back and forth. I could say, okay, cast A is going to be this weekend, cast B will be whatever. So we're going to start booking April through August of next year. I'm thinking probably 2 shows a month. So at this moment, we don't have anything on the books right now, but we'll advertise it this fall, and I'm sure we'll start getting those booked. So just go to the website. I was looking here. It is one night only. If you click on it, that little promotional video is there. And then there's a contact form where you can fill it out and it'll send it to me. And then I'll get with you on the booking part of it. And again, I want to stress, no cost to the church. All we ask for is a love offering at the end. And we'll bring our merch too. So, if people want to buy merch, that supports us too, or give a donation, the love offering, that's all we ask. My favorite Christian singer growing up, and I'm dating myself here, I know, but my favorite Christian singer growing up was Carmen. And Carmen would go to these arenas and the
I'm in
big
the same
stadiums,
boat,
man.
bud.
Oh,
I
okay,
used to
good.
love Carmen. That was
Yes.
the first concert I ever went to with my church group.
Oh man, he was the best, man. I remember being in 1996. I was at the Georgia Dome with like close to 80,000 people, but Carmen never charged. And somebody last year told me, you need to charge. And I said, you know what? When you go to church on a Sunday morning, you don't pay to get a ticket to go sit in your sanctuary and listen to your pastor preach. And as I said earlier, what God has called us to do is preach the gospel from a different pulpit. So it would just kill me if I found out that somebody couldn't come to see one of our shows because they didn't have money. I mean, even if we just charged $5, if they didn't have $5, they couldn't come. That would just kill me. Mm-hmm. So we're just trusting the Lord to provide all the funds, which he did last year. We actually had leftovers from last year. I know all the needs will be met this year, and we'll have leftovers as well. And then we can just continue working.
Amen.
So what is your ministry name?
So it's called Radical Praise Ministries, and I do not have a website for that yet. I'm working on that with a friend of mine. So everybody's like, wow, radical. Why radical? Well, my response to that is, in the last few years, everything that seems to be happening in our country and our world, it's radical. The riots, the civil unrest, all the violence in our major cities. And this is not a political statement. I'm just telling you what I see. Everything is radical. And the definition of radical means a considerable departure from the usual or traditional. So the idea is, if we're going to reach a radical people for Christ, we have to have a radical approach to ministry. And our ministry verses in Colossians, it says, in all you do, in word or deed, do it as unto the Lord. So whether it's music, movies, a play, we do it as unto the Lord. So I had a conversation with my mom. I said, the way you guys did ministry in your generation growing up, that's great. And I'm happy to have the heritage that I have, but a lot of those things won't work today. The people are different today. It's a whole different culture. So we're trying to adapt and see what we can do to reach the culture. And so the plays, the movies, and we talked about reaching those people that don't go to church. That's what it's about. So Radical Praise Ministries, and of course the little acronym is RPM, which I absolutely love. So
can you afford to be audited by the IRS every year with the name?
Nah, bring it on. So far we haven't had any issues, keeping all my receipts and everything. So
there you go.
Yeah.
Being like a church type organization, you're gonna have to be even more cross the T's, dot the I's. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. And I'm very careful. So like if I visited some family in Georgia last weekend, and one of my family members, he gave me $100 bill, and he said, "This is for Judgment Day." And I'm like, ooh, okay. Because usually when I'm in Cleveland and people hand me money, I go straight to the bank, man. I don't want to hold on to it. I don't want to touch it because that's God's money. So I kind of like folded it in a way where I would know, do not spend this, because I don't play around with God's money. So if anybody gives, please know it is 100% going to the ministry. And I don't mess with that. I don't mess with God's money.
Amen. Yep. Amen to that.
Yep.
Well, is there anything else you want to let us know about yourself? Anything else you think we didn't touch on regarding the ministry or the play or how to help?
Yes. Yes. So this fall, Judgment Day is back, and I wrote a brand new show, and that's what I want to. That's really what I would love to leave this with is our new show this year. And I was trying to figure out, how do I market it? How do I? Because if I say Judgment Day again, people might think, well, it's the same show last year. So we're marketing it as Judgment Day Volume 2. So it's a brand new show. So last year was all about young people. This year, and it's crazy. This year, God gave me some direction as to what to write. I had somebody suggest, hey, you know what you should do? You should do a story on the family. You know how Satan's always trying to divide families and things like that. And I said, that's a good idea. And then sometime later, I had somebody completely different say, hey, you know what? You should write a story about family, and in the division of families. So two totally separate people told me the same exact thing. And I was like, okay, God, I hear you. We'll write about the family.
Yep.
So this
That's
year's show is all
confirmation.
about the family. How Satan's wanting to divide it, what happens when Satan, maybe gets to a family member and all the things. And I come from a divorced family. So for me, it was, I don't want to say easy to write, but I could write from my own personal experiences. Although the story isn't a reflection of my personal experiences, but some of it is, not all of it. So I don't want to give too much away. But the big thing that I want to say too is that we will be at the Dixon Center at Lee University this year. 500-seat auditorium, 4 shows, October 28th through the 31st, 7 p.m. each night. So we actually could quadruple the amount of people that we saw last year in just 1 year's time. Last year we had a little over 500. This year we could see, if we fill them all up, 2,000 people, which is unbelievable.
That is a huge audience. Is this a stadium or where are you guys? Where is your
No.
venue?
You must not be from Cleveland. I didn't think to ask you. So
No, sir.
Lee
I'm
University,
a Florida boy, but I live here in southern Georgia.
Southern Georgia. Okay, cool.
He's been to Chattanooga before. He and
Awesome.
Daniel and I all met up in Chattanooga.
Yeah. We ate at that burger joint. Great place.
That's awesome. So no, Lee University is we're a college town, but of course Lee University is a Christian university, and the Dixon Center is one of 2 large auditoriums that they have. So it's just like a theater, and so we're actually going to have a stage and backstage area. We'll be able to move all of our stuff in. We don't have to reset for Sunday church. It's going to be great, and I'm crazy enough to believe that God's going to fill up each show. People can go online. Tickets will be available September 1st. Again, tickets are free, but we are asking everybody to get a ticket because we'll scan them at the door because we want to get a more accurate count of how many people that we have come through this year. So it'll be jdreyouready.com/tickets. That page is up, but the tickets will be available September 1st. And myself and our whole team, man, we're just crazy enough to believe that God's going to fill every seat and that we will see that 2,000 number. So, and we're just, of course, it's not so much about the numbers. It's really about how many people we can reach, but we are believing for that. So it's a huge leap in just 1 year's time. So we're really, really excited.
I didn't know last year was your first time. So that was.
It was.
Because it looked like you guys have been in there for quite a while.
Yeah.
So a math question. If you had to charge a price per person on average to cover the cost of production, what would that ticket price probably be?
Oh, man.
Because I'm thinking if you could round that up, this is an estimated cost of what it would be. So if someone wanted to cover per average their own ticket, or they could cover a ticket for 2 people, like Sound of Freedom and Angel Studios have a program where you can go online, you could purchase a ticket for someone else. It's like, hey, this will cover what mine would have cost if you had charged, and then I could cover someone else's or gift someone else a ticket, basically. Not that you're charging tickets, but it's like this is an estimated donation of what it would cost, so people could just figure out maybe what they would be led to give.
It would be $10 a ticket.
$10 ticket. So if I donated $10, that might cover the cost for me, and if I donated another $10, that could cover the cost of someone who couldn't cover it, and that would enable you guys to go to other churches and other places and keep doing it without going in the hole for materials.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that is certainly something. And, it's
I guess suggested
for our friends that are not
Yeah.
from Cleveland, there is literally a church on every single corner of
At least
Cleveland and
one.
Bradley County. Yeah, at least one, sometimes two. We have every denomination. We have 2 denominational headquarters in Cleveland. So,
What's the South?
yeah,
Bible Belt.
the buckle of the Bible Belt, no doubt. Yeah. So that is certainly doable, and that might be something that we'll look onto, but that we'll look to in the future. Lee already told me there wouldn't be available next year, so it's like, next year I'm going to have to find another venue. The ultimate goal, of course, is to be able to have our own building. I would love to have an office building attached to an auditorium that sits 500 or 600, so that we have our own place, and then so every year we can be in the same place. And I think that will come in the future as we continue to grow and continue to do this. But just follow us on social media, the Judgment Day Facebook page. We're on Instagram too. We definitely want to beef those up. That's where we'll put all of our updates. Tickets September 1st. Again, right now, free, but just grab what you need for you and your crew. And we look forward to seeing everybody this fall. And then next year, I'm hoping before the end of the first quarter, we'll have the film done. And the film for the play, I'm looking to see if we can figure out how to do a digital download, because I know everything today is streaming. So we'll figure out a way to do a digital download too.
Would you mind, or we can talk about it later, if you had a video Judgment Day, you could we could put on our YouTube channel, our Let's Talk Shalom YouTube channel. You get some exposure, or like that. There was that a couple big Christian plays are going around. We could maybe help put on YouTube for you or something like that to get you more exposure for it.
Yeah, and we can talk about that. Like I said, that show is, and the video will be copyrighted, but I would certainly give you permission to do it. So yeah, we can figure all that out later. Yeah, absolutely, man. Anything that. And I do know that Judgment Day is going to go around the world too. I have a missionary friend in Zambia, and she already told me she wants a DVD. So as soon as I have the play, and then we'll film this year's show too. So we'll actually have two plays on DVD. So so it's going to Africa. I do know that for sure.
And you look like, remember the Jesus film back in the 60s and 70s? It was like such a low budget film, but so many millions of salvations came out of it, just showing it on projectors in Africa. Yeah.
So I have no doubt it will continue to grow, but we're just going to, and I don't ever want that to get to my head or to anyone else that said, we continue to grow. Everything we do, as I said, it's under the Lord, and He gets all the glory for sure.
So I don't know if North Cleveland Church of God and South Cleveland Church of God might have like a turf war or something, but you could also hit them up too.
I'm working on it.
Working on it. Awesome.
Yeah, I'm working on it.
I don't know if they have different color pews or something, or one has red, one has blue, but it might be.
We have purple at North Cleveland.
Yeah, purple.
We actually have purple.
Good neutral color. But and I'll keep it open for some local congregations too. Church of God Jerusalem Acres might also be good to try. I can connect you with those folks.
I know the Thackers.
Yeah, they're awesome.
Isn't that? Yeah, they're good people.
Awesome. So, is there anything else you'd like to share with, I guess, the audience?
If you could stare the audience directly in the eyes, like at an uncomfortable distance, what would you tell them?
Oh, do I need to turn my camera back on for that?
Yes.
There we go.
Oh, that's awkward. Okay.
No, I'm just kidding. Oh, you know what? Just pray for us. I feel like, we were talking about everything being radical later. And I mean, it's for me personally, it's to the point now where I hardly even want to watch the news, especially going into an election season. It's like, oh gosh, I don't want to hear it. And it just seems like it's all bad news. So I just, pray for us, pray that God continues to open doors, pray that we continue to grow, because as we grow, we can reach more people. And, we were talking about Carmen, and of course he passed away a few years ago, which is so sad. And I'm such a big fan of his. I feel like part of my ministry is modeled from what he did, like not charging and things like that, and the creative aspect. So I don't know, just pray that God continues to give me wisdom and direction on where to go, and that our team continues to grow, and that, we can get a building of our own one day to be able to call our own, so we can have a place. And then, but of course too, we want to go out. We do want to have an evangelistic side too, where we, we don't just stay in our four walls, we go out. So, yeah, just prayer. Prayer is the big thing. I mean, yes, we need money too, but I think prayer is even more important. So
We gotta get you hooked up with Patreon. If you get a podcast, get on the YouTube video on YouTube, people could have a Patreon account, and people could donate however much through Patreon
yes,
for you too.
I have some friends that do a vlog, a theme park vlog, and they're a part of that, and their channel's growing. Yeah, I know YouTube is probably going to be the next thing that I work on. So yeah, starting the Judgment Day YouTube channel for sure.
Awesome. So Steven's a media genius. If you need any help,
Cool,
we got to think both of us can help you out. I can help you get the word out, and we could both
sweet,
do what we can for you.
awesome. Well, I appreciate it, guys. Thank you so much for having me.
Awesome.
All right. God bless. And you guys join us next Monday night. We'll be right here.
Awesome. It's good talking to you, bud.
Thanks. You too. Thanks, guys.